$120,000 in debt overnight, not over years of bad decisions, like overnight. My ex-husband was hospitalized. He was in ICU for 20 days, in the hospital almost a month. And we had done everything we were supposed to do, right? Like I did all of the steps, but we were 2 miles into a different county. And we were in between insurances because of the new job. And when the bill came, because of all those things, there was no help. Again, like I know how to handle those things, but there was zero help because of all of those little circumstances. But the part you might not know, if you've heard this story before, I was already a money coach when all of this happened. I was already doing the things, right? So underneath the bills, there was this whole other layer that was running. A lot of shame, right? Like, how the heck can I be a money coach if we've got this going on, right? Today, I'm going to walk you through what actually moved the needle. And it wasn't making progress on that number. We're going to get into the identity piece because letting that number mean something about who you are is really the whole problem, right? The whole problem with that is we let it mean something about who we are as people. And one other catch that we're going to do as well, we're going to talk about what a budget is actually for. So if you've ever had something happen to your money that wasn't really in your control, stay with me. This one's for you. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Amy Circa, money confidence coach and bookkeeper. Been in the space for almost over 14 years, and I help heart-centered entrepreneurs stop doing money from survival mode and come back into emotional safety and grounded power with their finances. In every video, you're going to find an honest conversation about money, not just the strategy side, but the emotional and energetic pieces too, because in my experience, you simply can't separate them. So let's get to it. Welcome back. Today, we're kind of pulling back the curtain, talking more about my story that we've got here. $120,000 in debt, essentially overnight. In reality, it occurred about over a month, but again, it felt like that overnight thing. It wasn't this gradual process of choices that I made. It was floor pulled out from underneath me. I've got to be in it. And the part that I don't talk about a lot with this story, and I need to put trigger warning here. We can say trigger warning medical. We can say trigger warning infant loss, miscarriage, all of those things. Okay. Give you a second to step away if that's not something that you can energetically handle right now. And I totally respect that. Okay. So the part that I don't talk about with this story that happened with my ex-husband, when I had to call 911, he was semi-responsive is what they call it, but essentially unconscious. I went to pick him up from work. He was essentially unconscious. So I'd call 911, have him taken to the hospital via ambulance, etc. I'd found out I was pregnant 3 days before with my rainbow baby. Nobody knew yet. So we were dealing with all of the things, I was dealing with all of the things of trying to make sure my levels were good and this baby was going to be okay while managing all the things that I was having to do with my husband at the time. Okay. So again, I was handling it all. But afterwards, when he was supposed to be going through the healing process, we're supposed to be working on returning back to work, all of those things, right? I'm the one that's handling all the numbers. I'm looking at it. We've got all of the shame that's coming up. And it's like, how can I, as a money coach, sit here and operate and help people when I've got this big thing that we can add all the shoulds, right? I should have known better. We should have done this. We should have done that. It is what it is. So the shift that we had to make was I had to use the system that I created, the system that we leaned on, and I'm going to get into that here in a second, like the real big shift, but it had to not mean something about who I was. Have the thing in process, not let it mean anything about who I was. Went through the process that we teach with the Daily Money Minute. It's like, hey, check in with the bank account. It didn't matter what was in the bank account. This was actually, I think, when this process was created, if I remember correctly. Doesn't matter what's in the bank account. Made the process of looking at it maybe there could be something there. And I don't even think I had gotten to that level yet that we could play in the maybe with the magic. It was just like, I've got to decondition this fear hit, the shame and the guilt that was going to show up every time I opened the bank account. So we built the habit of like, hey, look, I can open this and I'm okay. And I'm going to go look at the car that I want to have. I'm pretty sure that's what I was working towards at that time. It was the car that I wanted. So look at the bank account, then go look at the car. Look at the bank account, go look at the car. But the thing was, like, the numbers weren't necessarily moving. That was a heck of a lot of debt, right? But what we had to do was change what we were focusing on. I couldn't focus on the fact, and I couldn't meditate on the fact that it was like, well, what the heck does this mean as me as a person? We shifted it, and now it's firmly part of who I am, like, right? I can help you through those things because I've lived it. Like, here's the experience. We've done these things. I've come back from this. And we have so many different examples. And then, like, years later, learned it's in my human design, right? Like, fun stuff. But I couldn't let it mean anything. You do the work. In the moment, it was about, like, being my own best client. And then with the debt, this is really where the shift noticed, became aware of, right? The shift that I've talked about with the net worth. We stopped focusing on the debt. I started tracking our net worth, and I started tracking it religiously. If you're watching on YouTube, it used to hang right there on my wall every single month. And I still track it. I'm still aware of it. It's just not, it's not hanging up anymore because I don't need it to be hanging up. But I needed to see to the progress. I needed to cling to the progress. And when I shifted from looking at this massive mountain of debt to this is what our net worth was. And little itty bitty, the progress, right? This progress 1 month, back down the next. Progress the next month, back down the next. But I could see the trend over time. But when I made the shift and I started focusing on my net worth as opposed to this thing that I didn't like, right? The debt. The numbers improved by 10%. And like mathematically, from a logical sense, I can't tell you why. But we started making more progress because I shifted what I focused on. And that was really what prompted the, so much of what I became known for, right? And working on removing the shame and the guilt around debt. And I didn't even realize or understand like how powerful we can be. Like if I'm an energetic match for that, it means I'm an energetic match for that amount of revenue. And I'll link to other podcast episodes where we've talked specifically on that, because that's not really where I'm going today. The identity piece here, we shifted the shame. It's like we got to stop beating ourselves up. But part of that shame, part of that guilt, the way that that can show up is, again, we're not going to look at it. Like, right, we just block it out. Don't know. I'm not a numbers person, whatever, like protective mechanism, protective walls we can throw them up, right? That's one way we do that. And the second way that we can like anchor into that shape or really cling to it, right? We're clinging to it because we want it to be there. Feels more protective. It's known. This is just the way it is. It's always been a struggle for me. This has always been like this. This is like that. And you might have historical data that you could try and tell me that's a fact, but it's not a fact because a fact can't be changed. And that story, that narrative can change now. Historically, might be true. Now, infinite possibilities. And that can be harder to jump into, okay? So I kind of want to anchor this in with, we got to look at the possibility. What if it didn't mean anything about you? What if that choice that you're beating yourself up over, that debt number, for my example here, became the most pivotal part of your story? Think about any great movie. There's always a part where it's like the heroes got knocked down, right? What if that was your hero's knockdown moment that you come back from and your life is forever changed? But you had to have that in order for this. What if it was a good thing? Just start to play with the possibility. But we've got to also have the system piece, right? Okay. So we had the identity and I had the system. I had both. And this is where a budget comes in. We're going to talk about the personal budget here because this was our personal finances. So many times I hear like budget's a 4-letter word. I don't have enough money to budget. I have this, like this part's in place. I have my AI do it. I've got the categorization in the bank accounts. None of those things are budgets. But your budget isn't designed to restrict you. It's not designed to limit you. All a budget does is it sets the intention of where you want your money to go. It's not restrictive. If you want to restrict your spending, that's your prerogative. Go for it. If that's what you want to do. But if you aren't setting the intention of where you want your money to go, somebody else is. Marketing and advertising, billion-dollar industry, right? And it works. Great. Fantastic. Love it. I work it. I advertise. Hopefully you do too as a business owner, right? But you have to set the intention and be solid, again, in that identity piece, who you are, without letting all the stories, all the things that you're letting mean about you. That's all your budget's doing. And if I didn't have the system in place, and I was spiraling like that, things could have gotten out of control real fast. Your budget is also not tracking where your expenses were after the fact. Your budgeting is setting the intention beforehand. And most of us, we've got to do the first part, right? Before we can do the actual second part with the budget, set the intention. So you've got to set the intention of where you want your money to go personally. And if you don't have this in place with your personal finances, your business is suffering. They're so intertwined. You are your business. I mean, you're not your business, but you are your business. Because you are the CEO. You're running a personal brand, right? You are you. You're in charge of both. And if your personal finances are a mess, it's affecting how much cash flow, the clients, the revenue, the success you are having in your business. So you got to have a budget in place. You got to have a budget that's built on principles that actually work for you. Do not try and shove yourself into some cookie cutter thing. I know there are so many budgeting templates out there. You can go on a YouTube rabbit hole, right? There's so many different things out there. But if you are shoving you into fit into their little box, it's not going to be sustainable long term. You've got to have a budget that works for you and for your finances. And that's exactly what we do in Budgeting Simplified, okay? It's principle-based budgeting. Here are the principles. Here are the things that we need to have in place. Here are the 4 different ways that I can think of that you can put this in place. You come up with a different way, great. As long as we have these principles in your personal budget, you're set up for success long term. Now, Budgeting Simplified is available all the time. It's actually getting a brand new, complete refresh. We're redoing everything in the content, okay? So if you grab Budgeting Simplified right now, you'll get the bonus calls that are going to come with the update, okay? So amycircuit.com/budget to grab Budgeting Simplified. You'll get all the details. And of course, if you're on my email list, you're going to get all of the updates as well when the re-release is coming out. And of course, if you are an Unstoppable Experience or Money Mastery Academy member, it's already yours. It's included with the program. You've got it all. Okay? I think that's where we're going to leave it for today. Remember, you've got this and I've got you. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.